Hi, Linda. Hi, Lee. Sandy, nice to see you too. We are in a little bit early, so we'll go ahead and allow people a few minutes to hop on here. Can you just let me know if you can hear me okay? I would appreciate that. Evelyn, hi and welcome. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Lee. I appreciate that. Hi, Deb. How are you? We have Ken here tonight. Sarah is not with us tonight. She had to be out of time or out of town for a little while. MW, welcome. Charlene, Colorado. Beautiful weather out there, I hope, this time of year. Sandy, nice to see you. And you too, Nancy, from Victoria, Australia. Long time no see, Ken. Yeah, we did just this afternoon see each other, didn't we, Debbie? Regina, hello, my friend. How are you? Dee is here with us today. Oh, you know what? I love seeing all of you guys because it is just so nice to have all my friends here, my Facebook friends, my YouTube friends, and my quilting friends. Hi, Deb from Lincoln, Nebraska. We're going to go ahead now that we've got everybody kind of popping in here, and I'm going to let you guys know. Hi, Jen. No, you're back. Always nice to see you. Marsha's just south of our neighboring state down in Illinois. We're right on the border of Wisconsin. And Sarah's watching us tonight. She just said, hi, Mama. so, basically, tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. Okay. And yes, Regina, we are doing well. Thank you so much for asking. Before we get started, I'm going to ask a question, and through the evening, I'm going to ask another question. So, these two questions, I have a little gift that I'm going to send whoever is the first person to answer the question correctly. So, Ken's going to be watching really close, and he's hoping he's going to be able to spot that first person. And if you are the first person to answer correctly, if you could email me your mailing address and information, I would appreciate it. And I will get these out in the mail to you. It's not big stuff, but it's always fun to definitely to win something. Hi, Diane, Rhonda, Mimi, Roxanne. Oh my gosh, I'm just loving it. Everybody's here. So, the first question that I am going to ask you tonight is about the templates that we're working with. And tonight it's the clamshell set. I'm really excited about this because there's so many fun things we can do with clamshells. So, the question is going to be, hi, Kathy, Nada, Joyce. The question is, how many templates are in the clamshell set? Okay. And first one to answer that correctly is going to get themselves one of these really cute pink spacing games. M.W. Wagner got it. All right. Sandy, that's a good try. Good try. MW, please go ahead and email me your information, and we will get this off in the mail to you. I wish I could give everyone if you want. I really do. Um, Oh, Linda, you only have the one from the sampler set. Well, after you see what we're going to do tonight, I think you might want the whole set. We'll see how that works. Okay, let's start here. The sampler set comes with a 3/4 by 1 inch. Okay, and this side is a 1/2 inch by 1.52 inches. We're going to talk a little bit about that. The next template that we have is a 1 inch by 1/2 inch and a 3/4 inch by 1.5 inches. I'm going to explain this math to you in a minute here. This template has only one side. Whoops. And I have to get it right side out here. And it is a 1/2 inch deep and 3 inches wide. And you will all recognize this clamshell. These out of the way so you can see this better. And this is 1/2 inch by 1 inch. And the other side is 1.5 inches by 3 inches. So let's talk clamshell math. I know I get a lot of oohs and ahs when we talk about math. The clamshell math is actually pretty easy. To be a true clamshell, okay, there's different shapes of clamshells. We can have ovals, we can have squatty clams, we can have flat clams. This is what I would consider a really squatty clam. I'm going to turn this light off. There we go. This is a really squatty clam. It is only, reflection. I'm still getting reflection.
That's better now.
Okay, thank you, Ken. This is still a pretty squatty clam. A true clam will be twice as wide as it is tall.
Need the black background.
Need the black background.
Can't see it.
Thank you. See, I need him to keep me on the straight and narrow, and he does a good job at it.
Over again.
So what we're looking at here is the true clamshell will be twice as long, twice as wide as it is tall. So this particular clamshell is 3 inches wide, 3 inches from this line to this line. Now this line and this line are where our needles will end up when it sets in the cradle or the spot for the foot. You'll see I have some additional markings on because I was doing some weird stuff with my clamshell templates that we're not going to try and do tonight. So when we look at this line, the first etched line on our clamshell to the outside or the top of the clamshell is going to be 1.5 inches tall. So just remember the true clamshell will be twice as wide, and on this one, it's 1 inch. It's twice as wide as it is tall. It will be a 1/2 inch tall, 1 inch wide. That's not necessarily true for every clamshell, but for a true clamshell, that is the math of it. Okay? So I just wanted to make sure to cover that a little bit. We have all different kinds and sizes of clamshells available to us. One of the other things that's really kind of neat is we have ovals. We have oval clamshells in sets that are available. And I'm going to show you one of the things that I do with the ovals, even though I'm not going to actually be using ovals tonight because they are not a part of this set, but they are a part of the fun that we can have. Okay. I'm going to show you two places. One of them will be in the 1 inch. No, I'll take that back. I'm not going to show you this because this clamshell is 3/4 of an inch wide and this clamshell is 1 inch wide. I guess I messed up in thinking they were the same. They are not. Yes, Ken?
Just silver dolphins, some people coming in.
Oh, okay. Hi, Silver Dolphin. Hey, can I see you in the reflection? Stare asks. Do you really see me in the reflection? Oh, that's scary, you guys. I feel bad for you. You have to see my face. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the other, Ken's going, yeah, I feel sorry for him too. Good thing I love him. And it's a good thing that he does the vacuuming around here. I probably would, no, just kidding. So what we've got here is we've got kind of a squatty clamshell. Every clamshell that we have, I'm going to get these out of the way for you, is an outside arc. Okay? We don't have inside clamshells. They're all outside clamshells. And that sometimes can take a little bit of getting used to when you first start doing them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull these out and take my paper out. And I'm going to bring my fabric in. This is the clamshell template set. And was it MW? I think it was. Oh, hi, Terry. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you made it. Jenny,
Dee
goodness, it's really late where you're at. But welcome. Welcome, Dee Dee. And Linda Chaffee, also. Nice to see you. I wish I could take time to welcome you each individually.
MW.
MW, these are the 5 templates, and you knew that we had 5 templates here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take out the template that is in our starter set first. What I did, just to make this easy to understand, I gotta make sure I'm going in the right direction here. I need to shed some light. I went ahead and I drew my starting line where this would be a seam. Okay. And then I made 2 other seams that was 12 inches apart. 3, 6, 9, 12. So it's really easy. If you have a 12.5-inch block, clamshells fit beautiful in there and it's perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to start. Some people like to stitch their clamshells side to side. I prefer to stitch them towards me or away from me, depending on which row I'm working on. And we're going to go ahead and hop over here. I did test my foot earlier to make sure that it was adjusted properly. And I'm going to go ahead, even when I practice, I still pull up that bobbin thread. To me, it's just a good habit to get into because even on practice sandwiches, I hate having to try and cut out tangles. Here's the template as it sits to make a clamshell. The first etched line will fall at where your needle falls at the bottom portion of the clam. So I have it set up on my pretend seam line. My clamshells are 3 inches wide, 1.5 inches tall. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up here. Hold these 2 back for just a second. If you're accustomed to wearing quilting gloves, clamshells a good template to wear the gloves. Now, what I want you to notice is these fingers, my thumb and my finger on my right hand. What I am doing is I'm holding those clams down a little bit. The reason being is with this template, I see students holding it like this. And while that's good, it's not going to go anywhere up and down. Your foot can get stuck under this clam, and that can cause some major issues because what can happen is the needle can come down on your template and it will break your needle, probably throw your machine out of time, and it could even break the template. So I use two hands to hold this template and make sure everything is secure on the top of the piece of fabric that I'm working on. Now, obviously, I have to move my hand at some point. And when I do, I like to get my left hand up here and hold that piece down. What also this helps me do is it helps me to keep that template right on my foot. Okay? Remember curves. There's so many things to remember with a curve. One, you want to shorten up that stitch length a little bit so it's nice and smooth. Two, you really want to make sure that you're just riding your template with your foot. You don't want to either push the foot or push the template, okay? The other thing that I want you to remember when you're doing clamshells or any other outside template, what can happen is your fabric can actually start to get smaller because with every stitch we take, our fabric gets pulled in just a little bit. With the clamshells, we have a foolproof way of correcting that. And I'm going to show that to you very quickly. There I've got my two clamshells in, and you'll see I came right on that 3-inch mark that I made here. I don't do that when I'm marking my fabric for real quilting. This is real quilting, but this is just to show you where everything ends up. So here again is that first edge line, holding it nice and steady. Get rid of my stiletto there because that tends to just get in the way. I do not have my hand pushed down hard on this piece of fabric. It's just laying here and it's just keeping everything where it needs to be. So I'm not pushing on anything. Make sure my needle is down before I need to readjust. And it's okay to readjust on every clamp. It really is. And here we go with the second one. I love these. And you know, this is a great template to be able to use a little bit of free motion license. And there we are. We are now at the end. Here is row 1 of our clamshells. I want to show you guys. There we go. There is our Nancy. Hi, nice to see you. Elizabeth's here too. Mary Lou, Janice, how you doing? How do we fudge to extend?
I don't see any.
Janice, that is exactly what I'm going to show you. Ken says he's having a hard time seeing your questions and things tonight.
I'm looking at 4 screens and I don't see those questions.
Okay, so we're going to try and get to all of them, but if we can't, please be patient with us because we just have one person monitoring 4 different chat areas.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
He just said he doesn't know what he's doing. Actually, he does a good job. So now that we've got our first row in, what we want is we want our clams to now stagger over that first row. What that means is When we pull our template over this way, we are going to be at the topmost point on that template. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to grab a straight ruler, my 12-inch arc. I'm going to go ahead and turn my machine a little bit to the side. Again, I want you to be able to see this well. I'm going to follow that line up to approximately where I think that that point is going to be. Up we're going to go. And remember, this is the seam allowance. Okay. So now I'm going to come here and I'm going to check to see, am I close? Well, not really, because I need to have, want to make sure you can see this. I need this line on my template to just graze that first set of clamshells that I put in there. So I need to get up another little bit here. And I'm going to again use my 12-inch arc just to get a nice straight line in my seam allowance. Unless you're really good at free motion and you want to go ahead and you want to just stitch that free motion is fine too. So what I've done here is now I've gotten a little bit higher than I want to be. Here's that first etched line. What I'm looking at here, I want the etched line for the next clamshell to come right into this well. I like to call this a hill and a well. And I want that to be right there. When that happens, what should be is we should have this halfway mark at the same point. If we don't, I'm going to show you how to fix that because it does happen. So I went just a little too high, which is not a problem. I'm going to come back down about a half a stitch. Now, this, and I can't remember if it was last week we talked about this or some different class that I did this past week. When you're looking at your template, you want to look straight down at it. Okay? You don't want to be sitting way back because what happens when you sit way back and look at it right now, this template with me sitting back in my chair looks like it's about a quarter of an inch off. But if I come and look straight above my template, it's aligned perfectly. I hope that makes sense to you guys, that our viewpoint makes a big difference on where exactly our templates are. So I am at the top, the highest point, and I'm going to stitch down into my valley here. And when I get down into my valley, my needle should touch the top center of the previous row. Now I'm going to stitch this way. I'm going to be honest, this is not the most comfortable way for me to stitch.
Leela.
Hi, Lee. Nice to see you. Was there a comment, Ken? Lee said this is an excellent tip. Oh, now you know why. Yeah, it takes time to figure all these things out, Lee. And it is so easy because we're sitting back trying to keep our shoulders down, our hands nice and fluid and movement. And we want to be relaxed. But if we get too relaxed and we don't get to see over the top of our templates, that can happen. So I'm going to go ahead now. I see that my hill, or the highest part of my template, is lined up here. And Janice wants me to show you what happens if they don't line up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to purposely, okay, I'm at the top. Now I'm going to purposely mess this one up. I'm going to come over here so that on the next clamshell, I can show you exactly how I would fix it. Okay? We're going to again come to the top of the previous row, which we did, and I'm going to go ahead. I can move my clamshell down. What you're going to see, what I hope you can see in here, is my clamshell halfway point is the drawn purple line, which should be right at the end of that paper. However, the template is off by, I would say that's a good 1/8 of an inch. Wouldn't you, Kim?
Yeah.
It really does. We need to fix that. Otherwise, that is going to continue compounding on every successive clam that we stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch to my highest point. I'm not going to move the template yet. I'm just going to stitch up to my highest point. Oh, what happened? There we go. Okay. When I get up on this highest point right here, Janice knows exactly what I have to do. I have to move my template over so that I keep the center line of my clamshell both vertically and horizontally aligned. And I'm going to now come back and fill in the.
Rain from New Zealand. What the hell time is it there?
What time is it in New Zealand? Ken asked. I don't know. Kathy should be able to tell us though, because she's in New Zealand.
I know.
Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. I appreciate you being here. Oh, Mount Vernon, Washington. That's such a beautiful place. And there's Marcia was here last week. I remember. Mary's here from Ishpeming again. We just took a ride up there this weekend, Mary, and it was winter. We couldn't wait to get back home where it was a little warmer. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now what we have is I have got my halfway mark realigned for my next clam. I don't have any worries. I don't have to make it any adjustments. And as soon as I get this clam done, I am going to show you how making that adjustment is not going to really be perceptible.
Nobody will ever be the wiser.
Right. Nobody will ever be the wiser, Ken said, and he's absolutely right. When you look at this, you cannot really tell this clamshell is a different size than all the clamshells around it.
Well, it's 11:30 in the morning.
11:30 a.m. Oh my goodness. Well, this is a good thing, Kathy. Winter, correct. You are opposite of what we are. Now the big question is, if it's 11:30 in the morning, what day is it? I'm having a feeling that it's probably Wednesday for you. We are still on Tuesday here in the States. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move that template over, and you'll see right here part of the drawing process how our blocks draw up fabric. So we may want to make a small adjustment. Quite honestly, I don't think it's big enough to worry with. So we're just going to go up to finish this row of clamshells. How many of you out there love to do clamshells? I'm under the impression you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday in Australia. Well,
New Zealand.
New Zealand. I really appreciate you being here, Kathy. Welcome. So now we're going to our third row. What's nice about the third row is we don't have to do this half of a clam on this side because we already are at the top or uppermost point. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to slip our template in, check and see where our vertical center is. I'm going to turn you back to the vertical center here, and it's perfectly fine. Now, because we made an adjustment in this one, we know we're going to be off here when we get there. And we're going to go ahead and make another adjustment. I'm going to show that to you one more time. And then we're going to move on to some other ideas to do with the clamshells. Lee.
I may like doing them better now that I know how to line the template.
I'm glad to hear that this is helpful. It really is not difficult to do clamshells, but what's important is that you do take your time and don't be afraid to practice. You know, I buy a bolt of cheap muslin and I practice on that. I know that Donnell McAdams will have a practice block and then just put another piece of fabric over the top, and she just keeps adding fabric onto the top of her quilt squares to continue practicing, and it saves resources. So you can do it that way as well. Whatever way works for you is best. Okay, so this is the one that we made the adjustment on. So when I come over here, what I'm going to notice is that this vertical line is off center quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit, but enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly what I did on the previous row. I'm going to stitch to my halfway mark. Okay? The uppermost portion of my clamshell to where that vertical line is. I'm going to stop, always with your needle down, okay? Because if your needle's up, your piece of fabric can go anywhere. Or if you're like me and you have a puppy who wants to jump in your lap and everything goes flying, that's never any fun. So what I've done now is I've gone ahead and I have lined up my valley with the valley on my templates.
M.W. Wagner has a good question.
Okay, M.W. Wagner has a question. What is the largest area you can use these before drawing in a fabric? Due to the stitch, will it affect it too much? Okay, so with the larger clamshells, you can make this an edge-to-edge design. It's not a problem. And as long as you have the knowledge of how to adjust the valley lines with, we adjust at the hill, but we use the valley lines for the adjustment, you can go as far as you want with them. You really can. The larger the clams, the less you're going to draw that fabric in. And I'm going to show you the 1 inch by 1/2 inch clamps. That's going to draw it in a lot. Would I ever use it on an edge to edge design? This size, yes, absolutely I would. The smaller size, probably not. I save that for just smaller places on the quilt that I want more texture. Does that answer your question? I want to make sure that I've given you the information you're looking for. Go ahead. I'm going to put in the last one. You guys always have great questions. You know that? I really appreciate your
Yes.
questions.
Yes, thanks.
Okay, great, great. I'm glad we got it. Okay, so I'm going to come here and I am just, that's it. I'm not going to go any further on this. But if we take a look, aren't they gorgeous? I absolutely love them. So I'm going to show you just one or two quick things that we can do here. I'm going to go ahead and replace this template and I am going to stitch to the valley. I'm going to go ahead and move my camera back so you can see. And what I am doing here is simply traveling. And I really struggled doing it in this orientation, as you can see, okay? No worries. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to twist my fabric so you can see. What I'm doing is I'm going to twist my template. And I'm going to twist my template until I have this top of this clamshell touching this row, this stitching line from the previous row. And now I am just going to come out. And I'm going to come back in. Oops. Now you guys can see why I don't like doing it in this orientation so much. It's just a matter of practice. I again am twisting that template just a little bit deeper.
Whiskers.
Coming back. Ken calls them whiskers. And they could be whiskers. It's just a little bit of a flourish we're adding there. Now we can also add that flourish when we get to the top of the previous row. Let me show you what I mean by that, okay? Lining everything up again. I'm going to come up. It's easier to do this as you're doing the clams rather than doing what I'm doing and coming back, okay? So now what we want to do is come here. I'm going to move that and we're going to come back. And these I call angry eyebrows. Comes from the kids' story, Veggie Tales. Question, yes.
From Dee, what is your preferred thread weight and why?
Oh, Dee Dee, that's a great, great question. I'm going to tell you for something like this that's going to show, I use a heavier thread. So I would like, this is a 40 weight thread. But what I really, really like is 12 weight thread for this kind of stitching. Let me grab that.
We're going to demonstrate here.
Well, I don't know if I'll demonstrate, but what I want to do is I want to show you. This is a 12 weight, 3-ply Egyptian cotton that I get from Wonderfill. It's called Spaghetti. And I love it because it lays down really strong color. And that's why I love the bigger threads. This is also great for hand stitching as well. Okay. You can use it both in the top and the bottom. Although what I do is I use the heavy thread on top and I keep a 40 weight or a 50 weight on the bottom. Now, with that being said, what you're seeing here is 40 weight thread. And that's by King Tut is what I use. And it's a 3-ply extra long staple Egyptian grown cotton. And for those who are in my class this morning, what we look for is anything that says extra long staple. Egyptian cotton is grown in Egypt. That's the only place on earth it will grow, and that is where it has to come from. Okay. If it just says cotton, it could have been grown anywhere. The long staple Egyptian is a smoother thread, I've been told. Okay. Then we have, I do like the fruity. The fruity is again from Wonderful. It's 12 weight, 3-ply, long staple Egyptian cotton. What Wonderful does is they gas their thread and mercerize it. All thread is mercerized. That just goes without saying. When they say double gassed, what they're meaning by that is that it's going through a process to burn off the extra lint on the thread. So what happens is you end up with a lot less thread lint building up under your stitch plate. They also have what's called confetti. Confetti is again a long staple Egyptian cotton, double gassed, 50 weight. And the reason that I like using the 50 weight is if I have a pattern in my fabric that I don't want my thread to be overbearing on it. I want it just to kind of be there and just kind of lay out in the background, so to speak. Okay. And then I use a 50 weight, and this is the 50 weight of choice for me, is the confetti. So I hope that gives you a little bit of insight on my view of thread. Threads are a tool for us to use that can make us look dazzling or bedazzled, whatever. Um, or they can just kind of lay in the background and do a whole lot of nothing, actually. Here's another couple types of threads that I enjoy using. This is Glamour. It is again a 12 weight, comes from the Wonderful Company, and it's a 3-ply. 2 plies are cotton, I believe, and the 3rd ply is metallic. You can see a little bit of glint of metallic off of here. And this really, like when you do the Dream Big panels, we did some Dream Big panels. I outlined each one of the petals with this thread, and it really helped them stand out. And it really helped to delineate the difference between each petal. This is something that's similar to that. Um, it just has a little bit of a glint to it, and it just helps to kind of step up the game, so to speak. So hopefully, does that answer your question?
Wanda's the main river at a softball game.
Wanda. Okay, sort of. Dee Dee is a purist, all cotton, so they wear evenly. And she loves glamour thread. So do I, Dee Dee. Actually, I was doing a show for So Steady, and Wonderful was there. And where we live, we have to order everything. So I went to their booth and spent, I'm not going to say it in front of my husband, but it was an ungodly amount of money for thread that I came home with. I loved it. So, anyway, I digress. Back here, these are what I call angry eyebrows, and there's so many different things that we can do. I actually was working on a sampler which was using all clamshells and clamshells in different shapes. For example, I used our hexagons work as clamshells too. They work together just fine. You should watch for that. I think I will probably be doing a Zoom class on that, hopefully in the next year. And we will do a little bit of free motion along with that. Oh, Dee Dee, you too. Oh, it's so hard when we have to order things. We don't get to touch them. I'm big on being able to touch and feel things. So, what I want to show you next is a great border treatment that we can do with the clamshells. Okay. And again, we always end up with this. I always end up wishing I had another hour to spend with you all. Okay, so
We digress. Yeah.
pardon me, Ken?
Well, we digress.
He says we digress. So this particular clamshell is 3 inches wide and only a half an inch deep. And I'm going to start it going towards the inside of my fabric. So I'm going to just pretend that this is a seam on a sashing. Okay. And I want my sashing to be about 4 inches wide for this treatment. And I'm going to go ahead and line my template up. There we go. How do I know where to line it up? Well, because my foot is 1/4 of an inch from the needle to the edge, and I've got a half an inch deep well here, I need to have it lined up on the 1/4 inch mark. So let's go ahead. I have a dog on my foot pedal. Oh, well, he's just going to have to move. Again, go ahead and let go that thread. I find if I hold on to that thread too long, it really can just mess me up. I don't know why. And I'm going to go one more rotation or one more clam here. And stop right at that line. I'm going to go ahead and get this thread out of the way for us. So we have just made our first pass. Okay. I'll make sure you guys got a good clear shot of it. Here's our first pass. Now I am going to take our squatty clamshell and I'm going to make another pass right over where I made my first pass. This is where you will have more of a problem with draw.
Sandy Sullivan can't see what you're sewing. Please move the camera.
Oh, are we okay here, Sandy? Let me know if that works for you. If not, we'll try something else. Okay. I think what I did was I had it moved to look at it, that a different area.
I know, she says.
Okay, good. I want to make sure you've got a clear shot. I love it when you guys let me know those things.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Okay, so here's pass number 2. We're drawing right over the same area. And here's my second clam. By the time we get to the 3rd level, I find many times we have to do a little adjusting, but that's okay. So here is our second clam that we used, and you see what's happening here. I love this treatment, and this treatment works so nice when you have the ovals that come, the oval clamshells that come way down. Okay, put you over on this side now because I keep putting my templates on in opposite directions for each time I make a pass. So what I am watching if you try this, how do I know when I have to make an adjustment? When this center line no longer lines up with this valley is when we need to make sure that we're making that adjustment. Right now it's still lining up. And I think from now on, I'm going to use dark fabric because I think you all will be able to see things better. Okay, so here's our third pass. Again, remember, this is a curve. You want to use smaller stitches. You want to take your time. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're not pushing or pulling on the template or the fabric. Okay, and we're going to make that last pass here, and you're going to see on this one we do have to make an adjustment because this is our third pass. We're really pulling that fabric in right now.
Edie says she never thought to stack the clams.
Yeah, I love this. I think it is so cool. I call it my swag treatment. I love swags, and I always thought that they were so hard to make. But you can see where if you have the oval clams as well, you can just go to town on this. And there we have our swag. Isn't that cool? I love it. And sometimes we could come along here. Remember that we're pretending that's a seam. So we could come down here and maybe just add some. Well, this is really thick. It's going to look like a bird claw instead of what I really wanted to look like. Okay, there's our little tassel. Okay, looks dumb, but you get the idea, right? So we can make swags. You can also come down and use a spin effects, one of the mini spin effects right here. Those work good as well. Okay, so there is a couple different things we can do. Now what I want to show you is little ones. This is so great. If you have a small area that you need to fill in, the mini clamshells work wonderfully for that. And I wasn't using my head earlier while I was getting ready because I have some pieces that I've used these on, and I should have brought those out so you could actually see a more practical application. Okay, so we are only going to go a half an inch in with our clamshell. We're going to go 1 inch from side to side. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure everybody's in focus here. The premise is always going to be the same, whether it's a circular clam or an oval clam, a hexagon clam. There's actually so many different things we can do with them. And right here, you're going to see how I used a little larger stitch, and you see how flat that clam looks because I did.
Yeah, we got one in here. Something's higher, drunk.
Huh?
I think you got somebody in here that's high or drunk. Ava.
Ava?
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. That is one thing I need to figure out how to do. I don't know how to do that.
She's looking for attention.
Yeah.
She's a foreigner.
Okay, what I want to do. All right, there we go.
She's on?
hmm So what you'll see is I went ahead and I did a small one. Now, what I'd like to do is come back here and use these. The problem being is that these are 3/4 of an inch. I'm sorry, 1 inch by 3/4 of an inch. That will work. But you'll see that it doesn't really. So what we need to do is we need to definitely do a lot of maneuvering on this one. I guess I really wouldn't do that. I don't think it's a good idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the mini clamshells. And we're going to come up like this. And now I'm going to test if I'm at the right spot. I'm going to come up a little more. Okay, now I'm definitely at the right spot. I also have another question for you guys. And the first one who can answer this question is going to receive the Ruler Work accessory set. I don't know if you guys have seen these yet or not, but you know, we all want to have every color of the spacing gauges that we can get, right? This also has the stitching line discs. It has the notion necklace, and it has the light blue um, spacing gauge, and it also has some echo guides to it. So what we'll do is I will ask you the question, what year did So Steady acquire Westerlies? Okay. Jan, did I confuse you? I apologize. Oh, I not confused you. Okay. So what year did So Steady acquire Westerly? Prior to when they acquired them, they actually were the exclusive manufacturer of them. Sandy, that is when they became the exclusive manufacturer of Westerly products. You guys are close. I'm going to let Ken monitor that and watch for that. Okay.
Yeah, it can't be one the other way. 2010.
Oh, no. Okay. So here is
Meta Bonnell got it first.
Meta. Okay, Meta, you've got it. 2019. So if you please send me your mail information, I'll go ahead and get that off in the mail to you, okay? Yeah, you know, it's really cool reading the history of it. And of course, you can find that on sostay.com, and you can read all about how So Steady acquired them. Okay, I need to go up a little further. Now, how do I know that? Because before, when I was sitting back like this, I thought I was exactly where I needed to be. However, when I get and look from the top, you'll see I'm that much short. So I'm just going to go ahead, take a couple more stitches up. There we go. That's all it took. Make sure I'm in the right spot. Come down. Come back up on the next clam. And on this one, I do need to make a little bit of an adjustment. So I will make that adjustment and come down. The small clams, what you're going to find is that you need to make more adjustments on them because you're drawing in more fabric. So I'm coming up on the next one, and on this one, I know that I have to make an adjustment, so I'll go ahead and do that. And we're going to come back down and come up again and come back down. And on the last one, again, I need to make an adjustment. There we go. Now, when we look at these, we don't see the adjustments. We just see beautiful clamshells, don't we? And that is what we're going for when we do our clamshells. I'm going to go ahead and go up a little bit. I'm just going to do one row of this oval, more oval clam. I really love the looks of the oval clams. And you will find the manner in which you will be most comfortable. Whoops. There we go. Whether you like to do them going left to right, right to left, or whether you like doing them on a vertical plane as opposed to the horizontal plane that I'm using here right now. Okay, up we go. And you see how those are just a little, they give you a little more body and a little more depth to them. I'm going to go here. Yeah, right there. I didn't even need to stitch up. Right there. So I'm going to come back down. And around we're going to go. This one I need to adjust. And even on these sharper ones, you're not going to notice those adjustments. That's what's so cool about these. The adjustments are just there. Okay, so you see how these are a little longer, a little taller. These are a little shorter. I hope that I've been able to give you some insight on clamshells tonight, and hopefully you will look to try them and not be afraid of them. I'll tell you what, I was kind of afraid of them in the beginning simply because I didn't do outside curves really well. And I think that I have shared with you. Oh, okay, Meta. The email is ART. Let me see. I can write it down here. Am I done yet? Okay, so that there we go. There we go. When I first started doing them, I was afraid of them, and I was afraid of them because I was afraid of outside curves. And what I did not like was the 4-inch arc when I first started with ruler work. So what I did was I practiced it a lot. It actually ended up being my favorite template, and I am no longer afraid of outside curves. So I hope that you find your confidence with them. Play with them, check them out, draw them out. Drawing with our stitching line discs will really help you to use that muscle memory, and it will help you in the long run. So what we need to do is we need to pick what we are going to do next. Oh, this is going to be fun. Before I tell you, though, I do have one other thing to let you know. As of tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Central Time, we will be doing another 1 hour live, and we're going to be doing it in the same manner that we're doing this. We're going to pick a template, and then we will definitely be using that template the following week. What we discovered is this seems to be something that people like to do. They like to hear about the different templates, but we weren't hitting time zones really well for everyone. So we wanted to be able to make sure that everyone had the availability if they chose to watch. So at 8 a.m. Central Time, that's 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and 7 a.m. Mountain Time, 6 a.m. Pacific Time, and we need to add 8 hours to 8 a.m., and that's what time it'll be in the UK. So 8 plus 8 would be 4, 4 p.m. 4 p.m. in Great Britain. Okay. And as far as Australia, I think it'll be somewhere in the middle of the night. I'm not sure. I apologize. I don't know all the time zones real well. Next week, what we are going to look at is between circles, between the lines, simple circles, and semicircles. There's so much that we can do with circles. And what I want to show you is the difference between the simple circles and between the lines circles. You can make a decision which set you will find to be most beneficial, or you might be like me and say, I want both of them. There's a lot that we can do with circles, and we will work with them next Tuesday. I want to again thank you so much for being here. I love doing this. I love hearing from you guys each week. And don't hesitate to go ahead and get a hold of me if you have questions. I'm always available for answers. I do have my contact information on the So Steady website. It's sosteady.com. And if you look under education instructors, I am there. And I always am able to take some time to help answer your questions. That's what we do. That's what we enjoy doing. So, if there are no additional questions tonight, we're going to go ahead and sign off. And if you're awake in the morning, we're calling the morning show Coffee with Kathy. Grab your coffee cup, sit back, put your fuzzy slippers on, and meet us back here at 8 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. Until then, let's quilt.